We're so glad that you all decided to stay with us for the press conference. So at this time, we're going to invite President Conyers to come up and give us our welcome. And then we'll have the occasion by Dr. Ralph Noble.
Good morning and welcome to each of you. Today is a very exciting day for us here at South Carolina State University. As we often talk about the great things that we do here at the university, we certainly could not do those great things alone. We know that for us to be great, to be our very best, it takes partnerships and collaboration. And today, that's exactly what this is about. You are about to hear from one of our partners with a great announcement, but I will leave that for him to do. But just welcome to each of you, and today is another great day at South Carolina State University, and welcome to each of you. Thank you very much.
Well, good morning again. And we're here to really help us celebrate this new partnership we're having between the United States Forest Service, USDA, our traditional help, and South Carolina State University. We'll be bringing resources to help both the rural and the urban community who intend to address the greenhouse gas emissions and global warming problems. So you'll be able to hear funds going to students, planting trees in our communities, and helping us address these areas and sometimes the unheard of communities. Thank you.
Because of the wonderful partners that South Carolina State has, we want Mr. Travis Johnson, who is our USDA liaison, to come up and introduce to us our partners.
Good morning. Over the past 28 years that I have been with USDA, I found out I could not say partners or partnerships without saying relationship. A lot of these relationships I have built over the years to where I've been able to bring my expertise, my gift, my job to South Carolina State to be able to bring resources such as this that we're going to have today. Mr. Wilkes, as I picked him up from the airport and we was talking on the way to the partners dinner last night, I reminded him that he met me over 20 years ago in Mississippi when he was a state conservationist. And we were sitting at the same table at a conference. And oftentimes when I'm sitting with people of Mr. Wilkes' statue, I ask one thing: what piece of advice can you give me to help me for my career with USDA to be longevity? And one thing he always told me was, he said, make your boss, your supervisor job a lot easier. And so that's what my role, that's what my statue with USDA has been. Anybody that I work with, I want their job to be easy. So when they go home at night, they're here to be able to lay down without them worrying about the task being done. So it was my esteemed pleasure to be able to introduce Dr. Homer Wilkes, who is the Undersecretary for Natural Resources and Environment for the USDA, with USDA, the natural shucks. We good, USDA.
Good morning. I'll promise you three things. I'll be brief, be bright, and be gone, Mr. President. But let me just say, as I was sitting out there in the audience, Senator Matthew, I wrote this tie because you had on one last night and I didn't. And today I came here and I have it on, so we'll keep going through those trends right there. But let me just tell you, I was sitting out there and I was just reminiscing, what an awesome day and what an awesome university. So I sit out there and I was just listening and I said, now I'm a proud graduate of an HBC as well. Not an 1890, but an HBCU. So I'm going to tell you is that not only does an HBC gives you a good education, it gives you an education that does good, and you've seen representation of that this morning. So you should be very proud of that, because I am for sure. Mr. President, thank you. I want to thank you for your leadership. Dr. Whitehouse, Whiteside, okay. He belongs in the White House, you all. And really, as we talk and listen to, I mean, that's an awesome team here. It really is here, as you all already know. But I've been introduced, and I'm beginning to be more and more acclimated to the talent that actually resides here, and it's awesome. You all in good hands with that leadership team up there. And you heard Mr. Johnson there, Travis. That guy works hard, hard, hard. And I told him the only regret that I have is that I wasn't able to give more money. And we'll talk about that in a minute, Dr. Weiss. I know you're a little disappointed there too. But, uh, but you know, what I want to say though really is first of all, good morning to the audience again. I'm elated to be here. And Andrea Agato is the chief of staff there, works with me that get these things happen. And when she tells, I haven't had my career, I don't decide where I go at all anymore. Someone come tell me, you be here, you be here. And Dr. Jemay and Dr. Whiteside has told her where I was going to be, and I wouldn't have rather been any other place than here today. And let me just tell you, you know, really, and Andrea, that's all I'm going to read on these notes. You know, your staff give you all those notes, but when I come to a university in a setting like this, I can speak from the heart. I really can. So I can get rid of all those notes. And I'll get to that occasion pretty quickly. But what I've made a commitment to do, and that is that whenever an occasion occurs like this, that at my level, I'm going to try to get there. I'm going to really try to get there because it's not often that we get a chance to have the exposure that we can get at this particular level. So we owe it. We owe it to these universities to get out there and make sure that you come and do all you possibly can for them while you can. And that's a commitment that I've made there. So on behalf of the Biden-Harris administration, I want to give you a few pointers, but I tell you one of the things that we truly believe in: diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. And I want to run through those. First of all, we need to have a diverse staff, a diverse group of people that's working out there. As Senator Matthews said, you know, if you had an African-American director of personnel, you can recruit some folks that's out there to look like us, because it has to be intentional. It has to be intentional. Secretary Vilsack, he tells us that everything we do needs to be done through the lens of equity. How often have we had that? I mean, you start looking at it. I know it's been a struggle from the very beginning when this university first got started to where you are now. There was some growing pains, Senator Matthew, and it took a lot of hard work to make those things done. And now you have the proper leadership in President Kanye that will actually carry it to the next level. But it took that commitment, that intentional commitment to make sure the sustainability and survival of these universities there. And we're going to all work together to make that happen. Inclusion. I mean, everyone should be included in our process. These are your tax dollars that we have. They are there, and we should actually share those. You should not feel uncomfortable coming to an office asking for services. That's your given right as a taxpayer. So I'm serious about inclusion. And then the accessibility, making sure that you have access to these various programs, that you're made aware of those programs. That's just, you should demand that. Demand that of me, because I work for you. I work for you, and I'll never forget it. I have some 40-plus years doing this type of work, but I'm committed to our commitments that we should do all we possibly can, when we can, while we can, helping the university and the constituents that we serve. Now, I'm going to tell you, I have a good friend in Congressman Jim Clyburn, a proud graduate of this university here. And as you know, young blood, you need to go out there and do those things. So he tells me often, okay, whenever there's an opportunity to do something for this university, we should do it. And that's why we're here today. That's why we're here today. I talked about the funding pool, and you're going to say, what is this guy out there? I do have a purpose, and I'm going to get to it pretty quickly, because I promise you I'm going to be brief, bright, and gone. But I want to say that the Inflation Reduction Act is where these funds will come back. And what, 2022? There was this bill called the Inflation Reduction Act, and the President of the United States, President Joe Biden, said he was going to invest in America, and he was going to invest in rural America, because as a product of rural America, I'm telling you, so goes rural America, so goes America. I mean, let's say, that's why it's so important that universities like this exist, because these are the lighthouses for the citizens that's in this state. If they didn't have a South Carolina State University to come to, where would they go? Where would they go? I mean, everyone is not going to provide those services that this university provides. So we need to do all we can to make sure that they stay in existence. It's been here since, what, 1896, I think it is. And, you know, so over 100 years. So we need to make sure that it's there for another 100 years for future generations. Talk about the Inflation Reduction Act. That was roughly $1.5 billion that we took out, intentionally took out, to do something in the area of urban community forestry. And some other folks will come and talk about that, but the intent was this: to make sure that there was equal access to tree canopy, to make sure there was easy accessibility to nature. One of the things that we haven't had the benefit of, and particularly in urban America, is that tree canopy. And if you were to walk out there, and I know some folks in here know about, the fields and things of that nature. I grew up in rural Mississippi, and I did not go to Alcorn State University, which was 7 miles from my house. I left there because I knew after I got through, my grandfather was going to have me come home that afternoon and do some work, okay? So I escaped that, and I went a little further to a place called Jackson State University, but it still wasn't far enough because on weekends I had to go home and work. I had to go home, and I wouldn't trade nothing for that work ethics that I got there from those type of folks there. But more importantly, that tree canopy in our communities, we suffer from asthma, diabetes, and all those type of things. And I talked to Mr. Glover over there about his tree canopy and the importance of having trees. Trees do two very important things, do a lot more, but I would say three. Let me put the three, because trees actually improve our water quality. Those forests that's out there, those trees, they serve as filtering system, and they produce the water that we do. If you're public drinking water, those trees have an impact on it. The second thing that trees does, you've heard this thing about climate change and all those type of things, and a lot of dollars are being infused in there in order to address and mitigate climate change. Trees, they sequester carbon, and carbon is one of the major things that actually causes the atmosphere to be as warm as it is. I mean, some of you guys around this table and ladies around this table know it's just unnatural for some of these temperatures that we actually have now, and that's because of climate change and things of that nature. And the third thing that trees do, they give off oxygen. And if you got up this morning and you're alive now, you had to breathe that oxygen. So that's the benefit of trees out there. That's why we want to make sure that there's a proper tree canopy, as well as so we can have the atmosphere, we can have the pleasure of going out there. And if you're having a very bad day, I challenge you to walk out into your forest, take a walk, those woods, and you hear the birds sing, you see wildlife go around, and it just settles you down. I was talking to the gentlemen at that table. That was an interesting table there, Mr. President. I mean, they was hitting me for all kinds of things out there. And I really, really did appreciate them. Yeah, I really appreciate. And to the students that was actually here, one of the things is that one of the young men was talking about his grandfather. And I'm too, was raised, in a two-family home, but my grandfather probably had the most profound impact on me, because what he used to always tell us about the benefit of a land legacy. And he said that you ought to leave a place better than you found it. And that's all our responsibility. We don't own this land. We are stewards of the land. So that means you should take care of it. A steward is a person that's a caretaker of it, and we should do that. And my grandfather instilled that into me. So I think that's one of the reasons that I'm where I am now, with much prayer, and a lot of prayer. And my grandfather's instructions to me is to work hard and try to make the community that you serve in better than you found it. And God has afforded me an opportunity, not once but twice, to have the opportunity to serve in this job. So the first time I turned it down, under President Barack Obama, I turned it down because I got a family, but I had 3 sons. I had 2 in college and had a mortgage. Things have gotten a little bit better, Senator Matthew, but I'm still able to do this. But then the second time it came up, I was doing well. I had a good job out there. Didn't have to deal with Andrea and some of the other folks that I have to deal with out there. And it afforded me an opportunity. But when I was asked to do it, I hesitated, and through members of the Congressional Black Caucus, they came in, they said, okay, and you all know your statesman here. Well, I said, I'm doing all right. I don't want to do this right here. He said, it's not your choice. And how it hit me in my gut, he said, if John Lewis had not marched across the Pettus Bridge, you wouldn't be serving an opportunity that you have now. And that hit me in my gut, and I said, I must serve. I didn't even want this job, but let me just tell you, I am so glad that I'm in this job. And the reason I'm glad I'm in this job, because it affords me an opportunity to help places like South Carolina State University. It helps me go into our communities. And I'm going to tell you, we talk about underserved and all of those things. When I go talk to the members of the Congressional Black Caucus, you know what they say? We talk about black folks and people of color. And that has never fazed me. And I'm not ashamed to show courage to make sure that funding that's available to folks that look like us. Just that simple. We got to do it. If I don't do it, who's going to do it? Who's going to do it? So, Mr. President, Mr. Whiteside, I'm here today on behalf of the Biden-Harris administration. I would like to announce that South Carolina State University has been awarded $5 million to put tree canopy around these United States. Thank you all. I want to say thank you all for affording us that opportunity to do it. And I'm here to tell you that I know that South Carolina State will do the right thing. As I said, they are that lighthouse that this community needs. And I'm going to say this, and I think some people in this room may remember, and it goes something like this. I'd rather see a sermon than to hear one any day. I'd rather one should walk with me than just to show the way. The eye's a better pupil and more willing than the ear. Advice may be misleading, but examples are always clear. And South Carolina State University has shown that example through the work they have done. And the folks in this community, you're in good hands with President Conyers, Colonel Conyers. We just happen to have some other things in common. And when having the Vice President Whiteside, having Mr. Dumais, Dean Noble, congratulations to you. There's a lot of good things that's come this way because right now USDA has some pretty good funds, and I'm willing to help you any way I possibly can to grow the program. I really am, along with other counterparts out there. And folks, I can't say enough about Mr. Travis Johnson. This guy knocks on doors on your behalf every day and every way. Travis, thank you, sir. Mr. President, thank you all for the opportunity, and thank you all very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I don't think I have to say a lot, to be honest with you. I think we heard certain words. I'll just go ahead and say them. I heard rural. I heard underserved. I heard equity, access, diversity. These are issues that are the core mission for South Carolina State University. This is what we've been doing for 126 years. Undersecretary Homer is a good man. He always encouraged us to pursue opportunities. And when the opportunities are there, we will seek to pursue them. President Conyers, thank you for the leadership you continue to provide for us, to allow us to think outside the box. And when there are no boxes, we create our own. And we've been doing quite a number of that in the past few years. I'm the one standing here speaking as the Associate Vice President for Public Service and Agriculture, but there is a team that is constituted over the past 3 years that seek opportunities, try to align the resources the right way, and go after them. It starts with Dr. Whitesides, because everything rises and falls with leadership. They take a lot of credit when things are good, and they do take a whole lot more credit when things are terrible, even if they are not responsible for it. But leadership is responsibility, it's accountability, it's trust, it's equity. For 2.5 months, we knew about the opportunity, and a team was constituted. I have quite a number of them in the room here. From the finance, we have to write the budget properly. So we have a finance person on the team. We have to have the science right. So we have the scientists at the table. We have the concept right, so we have visionary people at the table. And we have the application right, because we have to have a vision. So we have Dr. Whiteside in the working group. We have Tamiko James. We have Dr. Abujan, Dr. Adasi, Dr. Onoro. We even had an opportunity to hire a professor to come join us. He was not even on our payroll. He was working on this grant on his spare time, on weekends, helping finance Dr. Nayata. We have Dr. Brandon Huber and myself. So it's a committee process. We bring plethora of capacities and competencies to the table. So the expansion of urban forestry and green infrastructure in South Carolina, the Undersecretary announced $5 million, was a $49 million proposal we put together. We have 47 partners across the state. We meet people where they are. We have regional offices. We have extension agents in the community. We know the problems of our service area. We know better than anybody. So we know trees to improve the elements the Undersecretary mentioned. Clean air, oxygen, carbon sequestration, or carbon under the ground, keeping it down there. Photosynthesis for the plant to take the carbon dioxide that we emit every day is why we have it. The uniqueness about this is that while we are enhancing the environment, can we produce healthy produce out of it? What does that mean? Fruit trees. So this program will have fruit trees. So we don't have 49, we have 5 million. But what will we do? We'll scale back, but we'll do the very best with it. And yes, Undersecretary, we'll come for more. Because if we are talking about underserved communities, nobody do it better than South Carolina State. If you are talking about granting access, nobody does it better than us. If you're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, we are the pioneers of it. Yes, I'm a graduate of South Carolina State University. Yes, I married my wife from the school. Yes, I went to the MEAC. I won a MEAC championship. I'm a Hall of Famer at every level. This is the best school ever. People see me out there, they think I went to another school, but this is the school. But the reason I can say this is I have people better than me on the team. I don't mind people who know more than me. And that is what leadership is. They come and make things better. And I mentioned their names, we'll continue to pursue. USDA is a great partner for us. And we are coming for more, Dr. Toombs, we are coming for more. Dr. Homer, we are coming for more. Because we have a lot of challenges that we must pursue. We have a new College of Agriculture, soil science, plant science, animal science. Our two transition is built not only on the research dollars you bring in, but the students you graduate. They cannot graduate with our programs. With this grant, we'll now have opportunities to develop curriculums. The kids in our communities that we will be targeting will be the one planting these trees. We'll be training them on tree maintenance, on tree management. So we'll be designing with the local counties that are engaged in this partnership, the canopies that will be in their counties, the design of those canopies, the planning of those canopies, and we are thinking beyond the grant, sustainability of this by the counties. How will it happen? That's why additional resources will be needed. It might not come from USDA, but it will be necessary to sustain a healthy environment where we can live long and sequester the carbon and have healthy environment and have fruit trees that we can eat, the black almond, the pecan, the peaches of South Carolina. These are indigenous plants. We'll grow them, we'll plant them, we'll harvest them, and over time, we'll have a healthy environment where everybody can live. So thank you so very much, USDA. Thank you so very much, President Conyers, Dr. Whiteside, for your leadership, and for the team. I would like you all to stand up so the people can see you guys. Dr. Nata, Dr. Adasi, okay, Dr. Onoro, where's Dr. Crawford? Tamiko James, Dr. Abujan. There you go. These are the people out there, and we are grateful. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you, Dr. Germain, for those remarks, as well as Undersecretary Wilkes. You heard the announcement and the grant award that we are receiving here at South Carolina State, so we're excited about that. And here's the part that I guess we will make it official. We have our signature ceremony coming up. So if y'all are ready, we'll go ahead and prepare, and I'll count everyone down. All right, on 3, 2, 1, let's sign to make it official. All right, thank you. Next up, we will have our closing remarks from Dr. Whitesides, who is our Vice President of South Carolina State PSA and Executive Director of 1890 Research and Extension. Thank you.
Woo, great day. It's been a great breakfast. Great breakfast. We need to have more breakfasts, right? What about next Saturday, y'all? Can we replicate this today? But thank you very much. Today has just been great. I mean, it's just really been awesome. Dr. Wilkes, we was at the Ag Outlook Forum, and he said Travis the hardest working man. He is. Tell you about Travis. So every year during our executive retreat, I give all of my staff members a grade, A through F, on how I think they did for the year and how we can improve. Well, Travis got an A+, and they hate him for it. And they hate him because Travis is in D.C. I don't care if we got 1 hour left in D.C. Watch, I see if we can go over and see such and such. I see what it says. We running from the train to here, and he gets us in all the buildings. We meet everyone. So we sit down with Dr. Wilkes. Dr. Wilkes said, hey, I got this opportunity coming up that they all might need to take advantage of. So he called Ms. Delgado in, and we said that we had a great meeting talking about this program. So we told him we wanted $50 million. So you left a zero off. $5 million is good. We're looking for the other zero in the back time for 50 for next time. But he encouraged us to go ahead, and this is something that we've not been into. So this is new for us. This is the first for us. We've not been into this. He's encouraged us to do that, and I'm glad he's here because he changed his schedule. This was set up not even a week ago, and he's here in South Carolina. So I want to tell you I appreciate him for coming down and doing that. I appreciate you all for taking time out of the day to actually spend with us. And I want to recognize all our staff from 1890. Please stand up, all of them. We got Sheena that's down here from the upstate, from Anderson. Boyd is down from the upstate. You know, Dr. James, stand up. Why are you still sitting down, Dr. James? We got all these folks that really make it happen. So, I mean, they call my name. They call my name a lot today. But my name is nothing without these folks that you see standing. They're the one who do the hard work. And actually this whole week and this whole weekend that we had planned, I didn't serve on any committees. They basically gave me an agenda and said, Whiteside, I need you here and there. I need you to get to the president's office and put it on his calendar to make sure the president gonna be there. And I did that, so I checked the box of all my duties and responsibilities what happened this weekend. So I want to thank you all for all your hard work. Y'all in the 86% I talked about last night. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And thank y'all very much, and we just need to keep it going and keep up the great work. So with that, Dr. Wilkes, we need you to come up one more time. And President Collins, come on up too, sir.
Can I make a comment about your zero?
Oh yeah, you can make a comment, please do.
Dr. White said it's not going to allow me to forget that extra zero, but let me just tell you, sir, I have to try to explain. I explained to the president what happened. This program was $1.5 billion, but the subscription for it was $6.5 billion. So 852 applications, but South Carolina State, I'm telling you, a lot of folks walked away angry. So Dr. Whiteside, I really tried to give you a share. So that's what happened, Senator Matthews. He was pushing and pushing and pushing. So need about another $5 billion. So hopefully we can get that again, and then you can get that other part, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Dr. Wilkes, thank you very, very much on behalf of faculty, staff, and students at South Carolina State.
Thank you.
And today is really a great day because the last time I was this close to someone from Jackson State, it was in Atlanta, and they were not happy with us at all. But today is a happy occasion. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I knew he wasn't going to let me get away with it. Dr. White. And thanks South Carolina State University and all the folks that's actually here today. It's been a wonderful day so far, and the president assured me to go out there and enjoy because they're not playing Jackson State today.
And before I go on to recognize with Linwood. There you go. Come out the back, man. Now, this guy right here is the key to our future success. This is Mr. Linwood McDaniel, and he's a graduate of South Carolina State University. And guess what? He's the special assistant to Dr. Toombs, who controls 80 USDA programs. So I'm glad you was here today, Mr. McDaniel, to see what our expectations are of you when you're riding with Dr. Toombs and our grant application come across. Hey, Dr. Toombs, South Carolina State, go ahead and hit the button. South Carolina State, hit the button. South Carolina State, hit the button. Hey, y'all, thank y'all very much. Y'all have a good day.